Well, good afternoon. I am with my friend Andrej Juriga, and I met Andrej, I don't know, a year and a half ago at the conference in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it's funny, Andrej, I call you a friend and I consider you a friend, but the overwhelming majority of our connection has been like this on social media, or because we live half a world apart, we only had a few brief minutes to get to know each other in Santa Fe. But I was profoundly affected by your commitment to the work that you do, and the work that you do is significant. And Andrej is going to be joining us in Lecce, Italy in June for the Cultural Global Labs event that's coming up. So, Andrej, tell the people who are viewing a little bit about yourself and your background.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, and good to see you again, Kirk. Looking forward to working with you in Lecce, Italy in June. Who am I? Very briefly about my background. My background is in teaching and psychology. That's what I did at the university, and I got my master's in what we call Latin American studies and German studies. So everything that has to do something with the culture, literature, and linguistics of Spanish-speaking and German-speaking countries. However, when I graduated, I pursued corporate careers. So I spent 14 years working in multinational IT giants, Dell Computers, and later on IBM. Half of my career was in sales. So I worked as sales leader for Dell Computers, leading the German market, which was a very interesting experience as I was exposed to very different communication styles, leadership styles, and so on. And later on, I decided to move from sales leadership role to HR. I became HR business partner for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, supporting leaders from literally all around the world who were remotely leading people based in Central or Eastern Europe. And then for past few years, I've been doing this intercultural work. I founded my own company called Cultural Bridge. So I've been helping our clients developing their culture intelligence, intercultural skills, and we also consult clients on diversity and inclusion.
So I think that was part of the reason I was drawn to what you have to offer at a conference like this and the conference in Santa Fe, Andrej. I come from the private sector. I come from the business world. I come with a heart for these topics and a natural kind of disposition to expanding my experience and my knowledge about how to work more effectively with people from a variety of different backgrounds. But I love the fact that you bring this really deep commitment to the subject matter, but you bring it from a background that is very results oriented. It's not just this ethereal concepts of, feel good stuff that wouldn't it be nice if the world was more loving and the workforce was more collaborative and cooperative. It's also about, there are specific bottom line results. There are specific performance accomplishments that occur when you integrate a better understanding of the diversity that comes into the workforce, because it really is a global marketplace. And I'm excited to hear what you have to bring in Lecce. It's going to be really difficult for me because I'm doing these interviews with all of our speakers and I want to be in every session. So I'm going to have to figure out how to clone myself. But let's talk about Lecce for a minute, Andrej. I kind of want to talk about, if somebody's registering for the event and they're looking at the different speakers, who is your particular presentation designed for?
Well, my workshop is all about culturally intelligent leadership, and it has been primarily designed for people managers and leaders who are responsible for managing teams, departments, or whole organizations, and they lead culturally diverse teams. And also, it is a good workshop for project managers who are leading projects and collaborating with project team members from all around the world. And when I say culturally diverse teams, I don't necessarily mean people spread across locations. It could be easily a team of 10 people, but those people, they are coming from different countries, or they could be easily be from the same country. Let's say you are leading a team of 10 US Americans. However, each of them has a different cultural background. Now, managers, leaders, or project managers, they have a very wide range of responsibilities, which starts from meeting business expectation or performance goals, whatever they are, to hiring new team members for their teams, evaluating their performance, and developing further their talent. So that's a very wide and huge responsibility they are having. And there is no single way how to approach leadership or management of culturally diverse teams. So what we'll be doing in this workshop is to helping the participants, the managers and leaders, identifying set of skills and tools and strategies they can apply so they can shift their attention from dealing with all those cultural misunderstandings and misinterpretations to rather focusing on their business goals or performance goals.
One of the really exciting things about this for me is, people like to talk about it's a global marketplace now. Well, it has been for decades, truly. But decades ago, it was a global marketplace primarily for large Fortune 500 size companies who recognized and executed on a global marketplace. But now the global marketplace is impacting companies much smaller, and the recognition that resources and products and services that are critical to my success as a small business leader or manager or owner are global. And so I'm excited to see the market shift like that. But what it really has created is a huge demand for the kind of skills and resources that you're bringing to Lecce to share with business leaders, HR leaders, because it is a global marketplace for so many now. And very rarely are people equipped with the understanding and the resources to work in culturally diverse teams. It's just not part of most typical academic or educational backgrounds unless you're specifically going down that road. So I'm thrilled that you're doing that. Let's talk just for a minute about, I understand who's coming potentially to your workshop. I kind of get a really good flavor for what you're going to be presenting and the tools and resources you're going to bring to bear. Let's talk for a minute about after we're done. You have somebody who came to Lecce, maybe they spent a couple extra days in Southern Italy, I hope they do, and enjoyed the amazing food and sights and wine. And then they're on their way home in the airplane, kind of debriefing themselves with their journal and their notepad about their takeaways from their time with you at Cultural Global Labs. What's the change you would like to see affected in somebody who participates in your 3-day workshop?
All right. So during this workshop, we're gonna focus on developing the 4 main areas or dimensions of what we call cultural intelligence. So we'll start with looking at our emotional reactions to cultural differences. So me as a manager, when I have someone in the team who behaves in a way that is unfamiliar to me, how do I react to that emotionally? So the participants, they will learn to understand their emotional reactions to difference in people's behavior, and we will go really deep at the core of every of those emotions. Big part of this emotional side of cultural intelligence are also biases. So we will have a look on how biases, conscious or unconscious, are impacting the way I select new team members for my team as a manager. We're going to have a look on biases and how they come into game when I'm evaluating the performance of my team members and when I'm developing their talent. So biases, big topic. Then we will be discussing how those cultural differences look like in people's behavior. So we will be discussing specific business behaviors such as communication. We all communicate at workplace, but the way how I deliver my message could be culturally conditioned. And each of us, we want to make sure that my message is understood correctly. So communication, then how do I deliver negative feedback or deliver negative message, disagreement to my team members in a way that is not painful for them, that I don't hurt my people, but at the same time that they do understand what I'm trying to tell them. Then what do they expect from me as their leader? That could be culturally conditioned. How do I gain their trust? How they can gain my trust as their manager, as their leader, and how do we plan for activities? So all these business behaviors and how cultural differences pop up and reflect in those behaviors. But not only that, because one thing is understanding the reason behind different behaviors, but then we will have a look on what can I do to bridge those differences. So we will be working on identifying specific strategies that work, that are proven to work in professional private setting, to bridge those differences and make this cross-cultural collaboration more efficient.
You know, it's really been fascinating to conduct these interviews. I think you and I have talked a bit about the 5 pillars on which we've tried to create Cultural Global Labs, and they're so consistent with everyone that's going to be a part of this event. But they are vulnerability, story. We're all connected by story somehow, which leads to our 3rd pillar, connectedness. And the 4th and 5th pillars are transformation and growth. And I think they all kind of lead to one another, but it begins with vulnerability. And what you're talking about, either as a part of a team or as a leader of a team is the willingness to approach this from a vulnerable standpoint, to understand that I don't understand everything about my workforce or my team. And in order to get connected with that, I've got to take a step back and be a little bit vulnerable and be willing to change some things in the way I engage. And of course, the net result is that leads to transformation and growth, which is whether it's personal transformation, personal growth, or corporate collective transformation and growth, which leads to bottom line success. That's what we're after. I am so excited, Andre. And any parting comments about your expectations for what we're going to experience in Lecce?
You know, my expectation and my like big desire is that the participants of my workshop, they feel the workshop with all those things that we just described, that we just talked about, but also that they feel this inner peace when they go back to their teams, culturally diverse teams, and they will feel well equipped with skills, information, wisdom, and strategies how to make this work. I remember, I wish back in time when I was leading this culturally very diverse teams that I got this kind of education or workshop or information how to make these culturally diverse teams work. I didn't have the chance to attend such a workshop. So this is really my aim to, so they go back to their teams and they feel comfortable. Okay, I feel well equipped. I can do this. I don't need to be afraid of differences.
I think that's so important because people, many leaders are well-intentioned, but they don't have the tools and resources to really execute in the way that their heart might want them to. And if they're going to come to Lecce and they're going to spend 3 days with you, 5 days in the conference, they're going to walk away with a better equipped tool bag to manage more effectively in a culturally diverse world and a culturally diverse workplace.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in June, Andre. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And we'll probably revisit you again between now and June to maybe share some more thoughts via video with our registrants as we get closer to the event.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. Thank you very much, Kirk, and looking forward to working with you in Lecce. See you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andre.
Bye.